Good evening and welcome to another chat with Kaida and myself tonight. We've got the Extreme Ghost Hunters, Marcus and Mark. Evening, guys.
How you doing, all right?
Hey, evening.
Yeah, great to finally get you on. Obviously, we kind of first met up at HorrorCon last year.
Yeah, we were side by side. Our
Yes,
traders. Yeah.
it was fate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, it's great to, as I said, get fellow groups on. We had Murray Ghost Hunters on the other week, so we thought we needed to get you guys on and have a chat because you're really, really busy and really active. You're obviously doing a lot on YouTube and going out to various different locations. We'll talk about the Nessie incident later. We definitely need to. So we should actually say, you guys basically, for want of a better term, for folk who don't live near, you basically live on the banks of Loch Ness.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So
we're both based in Drumnadrochit, which is like it's not quite on the shores of Loch Ness, but it's sort of like in a pocket. In it, how far would you say?
Yeah, it's sort of literally quarter of a mile.
Yeah.
You know, I live, a few miles, something like that. But we go past Loch Ness every day, and Mark, because he works at Nessie Land, he gets to hear all the stories of everyone that's coming in all the time, whether it's tourists, boat crew, whatever. So we're on the hub of it, really, here.
Yeah. So you're both believers then?
Well, I believe there's something strange going on, and one of the most interesting theories that I sort of tend to subscribe to is that Nessie is not actually a flesh and blood creature. It could be like, it could be some sort of like supernatural phenomenon that floats in and out of dimensions. I know that sounds far-fetched and out there, but you just got to look at the whole Crowley connection. When Aleister Crowley lived on the banks of Loch Ness, it was way before the Nessie phenomenon took off. So he might have opened some sort of portal. That would explain how something that's been around that long can remain undetected and still be seen to this day. But it's just another theory, but it's interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, they do talk about Mothman and even Bigfoot. That there's a lot of theories around similar. I would point out though that Nessie, because I do this in my ghost walk, Nessie was actually first spotted in 565 AD.
Yeah, St.
Columbus. Yeah. But I like that. That would definitely be possible. I mean, I think I've asked you before, Kate. Are you a believer, Kaida?
I'd like to believe there's something there. I'm not very jammed up on it, but yeah, it would be nice to believe there's something there.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those. The Loch is such a place. It's so deep and vast and dark that if there's not a monster there ought to be.
Yeah,
it's that sort of place.
Yeah.
It just oozes that sort of mythical mystique, mysteria.
It belongs. It's almost Lovecraftian.
Yeah.
The place itself.
Yeah,
and also all this energy of everyone that believes, everyone that comes I see all the time people getting selfies, pictures, they're made up. You can go, I travel all over the world, and wherever I go, you say you're from Loch Ness, you go, oh, the monster. Whatever language, they all know Loch Ness.
Yeah. Everyone in the world, but everyone knows about Loch Ness monster.
Yeah. I never thought of that before, the energies, because we often talk about from a paranormal point of view, if the energies are right and they're positive, you'll have a better experience.
Exactly. And it can get more positive, whether it's from kids to to retirees, whatever. The smiley faces, they're all looking. And it's like anything. You look hard enough, you might see something.
Yeah.
You might see what you want to see.
Yeah. I have to admit, I always have a look when I can. It's not the greatest road to drive and look. Yeah. But
it's also because I go past it every day, and there's been times when I have looked and I thought, I've pulled up in a lay-by, and I'm not, I look and I see. Sometimes, though, you get the wake of the boats. And this is, for me, one of the the biggest things when the boats have gone through. I've never seen anything like it. The wake is always like a mile behind. It never actually, and you can't even see the boat. But this wake is going up and down. And if the sun catches that wake on the right angle, it's only a section of it. You see humps. So that was one I can say that I've seen, and it was like, could be. But there's been lots of interesting things, Mark, hasn't there? People with sonar and pictures where they've found something recently the size of a bus.
Yeah,
in the loch, So,
well, we had an experience ourselves. One of our episodes.
Well, that was the sound, wasn't it?
We didn't hear it at the time while we were there, but on the audio, you might have seen it. We had this at the 9.45 second mark. We had this wailing sound, like across the loch, when Mark was asking with the glassing rods, "Is there any spirits here?" Yeah, there's just this wailing sound echoed across the loch. So
and we didn't sort of pick it up till after we looked on the audio. And that made press, didn't it?
The press could hold that and had a field there.
Yeah, they like a Nessie story.
Yeah.
But you've got tales. I mean, I remember growing up tales of kelpies in Loch Ness, and there is so many different tales.
Well, UFO, isn't it the big hub for the UFOs as well? Supposed to be.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
People have spotted aliens in the woods. One of the scientists, Jan Salzberg, he was walking through the woods in Foyers, and he claimed to see like a silver craft, cigar shaped, and like humanoid creatures, but around it. But wasn't the 70s like a good era for like good acid?
Magic mushroom.
You never know.
I normally blame the other spirits for many sightings, but yeah. I actually know a gentleman who has told me on numerous occasions that he always tells me the same story every time I see him, but that he's seen a green man, as in the green man, on the road between doors and foyers. It's a mystical, mysterious place. Perth Paranormal Investigations Agent saying, been there, loved it. The ruin would be a great place to investigate on the shore there. Don't know if there's anything there. Maybe a place to go if we ever get back. Yeah, we were actually talking about Urquhart Castle before we came on air. Sadly, they don't seem too keen on letting folk investigate it. Yeah, Perth, Australia.
And it's quite ironic because people, I think, before I came up years ago, I've been up here 10 years, you used to actually be able to just go down to that castle without even buying a ticket, couldn't you?
Oh yeah. I remember the first time I went there was just a little hut during the day and a little fence, and the shop was actually in the castle itself, and a wee shop in the castle itself and all that. So it's like we had kind of, didn't we? You guys went to Rosalind Chapel. Mm-hmm. And Eileen from Phantom Seekers was saying, I used to play in Rosalind Chapel as a kid. It used to be open to the world, and she used to go in there and play. So everything's commercialized now. And I'm not going to mump and moan, but what really annoys me is that these places will not tolerate paranormal teams. But come October, they're on the bandwagon. So you mentioned there, obviously, your videos. You've got a very active YouTube channel. You've done series 1, series 2, series 3 is on the way.
Exactly. Couple of weeks.
Yeah. So are these new locations?
Yep, all new locations. Just still around the same Glenurquhart area, but this time around we're going to be doing Culloden Battlefield, Clavercans, the footprints of Glen Morriston.
Ah, right. Okay. Yep.
And the asylum, is it?
Yeah, we're doing the asylum graveyard. We're doing that, and the pet cemetery. We thought would be quite cool.
Yeah, that was the first location we investigated. Well, second in theory, because we did two. We did two in the same night. But I'll be real interested to see what you pick up there, because we picked up stuff up at the pet cemetery.
It's got a real good atmosphere there, isn't it? It's crazy. And then we got a few more. Actually, at my place, I've got some land and I've got some old burial. It's on an old burial ground, and we got some old burial cairns that's still there with the old stones, and on the old maps it says burial ground. So that'll be quite interesting. We'll have a look there, aren't we?
Yep, and we're going to be doing a place called what's known as the Cover. It's basically a walk through the woods down to the shores of Loch Ness. But there's a Jacobite cemetery right next to it, and
Awesome.
it just looks, totally looks, it's investigation material. Put it that way.
Yeah. No, I mean what I really like about your show, guys, is the fact that you're doing, I would call, original locations. You're doing locations that actually nobody else has investigated, which is cool, and you're using the local knowledge that you have as well to back it up. So that's cool. We will flog it later as well, but obviously, along with that, you've got a book coming out.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
just so
the Extreme Ghost Hunters official book. It's basically a tourism guide, really, which just features all of our locations from season 1 and 2, and it's not so much about our investigations in the book. It's just about the locations themselves and how to get there, and basically the folkloric stories behind them.
Awesome.
We do talk a little bit about the channel, but not much. It's more about the locations themselves.
Yeah.
So it's very, because as you know, most of these places that we do investigate are off the beaten track. So it's just a helpful guide for people who wish to visit these places or seek them out. Yeah.
No, that's good. That's absolutely cool. I mean, obviously, you've got a couple of other books as well. You had them at HorrorCon last
year.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of editions on which is covers dark tourism. UV Planet editions 1 and 2. That's just places all over the world that I've just visited. That's got a dark history or past, and what to expect. I've got Faces of Horror, which is basically all the horror movies that's inspired me over the years, that I grew up with and even inspire me to this day. Letters from the Night Stalker, my personal correspondence with serial killer Richie Ramirez, the Night Stalker.
That for me was the one I thought was the coolest.
That is my biggest seller.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah,
getting being a pen pal with.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's my biggest seller. That one, even at HorrorCon at Inverness, I sold that. I basically sold out of that one.
It was crazy to think, wasn't he? He was a serial killer, but he ended up like a rock star.
Oh yeah,
most serial killers do, don't they?
He had the whole rock star look. He looked like he should have been in Kiss or something. Where you used to see Kiss without their makeup, wearing sunglasses. That's what he looked like.
Hey, we're growing a hair long and a.
You look like Paul Stanley or something.
Yeah. But I mean, the serial killer genre is massive. I mean, Lindsay from our team, I know she's come on. She's a big fan of the old serial killer documentaries and whatnot. So really, really interesting. So, how did you guys meet up? Was it in Drumnadrochit?
Yeah, I just started working here. This is like about almost 3 years ago now, and I just met Mark. He was like, it just used to come in the shop periodically, and we got talking. We got we did a couple of demo videos on. Well, he interviewed me just as an author, and we just came up with this idea one day. Well, why don't we put something together? And because we both had an interest in Burlesque House, and so that was our first episode. And we just decided to make a proper series of it.
Yeah. We actually registered the name Extreme Ghost Hunters years ago. Not just well before I even met Mark, or because I used to be quite into the ghost hunting, the American ghost adventurers and the Americans and ghost hunters. So I actually registered Extreme Ghost Hunters then, because as you know, I run an extreme sports company. Yeah. So that's what the extreme bit is, and then the ghost hunting we tied it in as well, which works quite well.
Yeah, the reason we call it Extreme Ghost Hunters is you got two extreme individuals from different walks of life.
Yeah.
You got Mark with his extreme sports, and you got me with my my dark esoteric background, and and my background in extreme music as well. So You know, and so two extreme individuals hunting, paranormal investigations.
And the other thing is, I know it sounds stupid, is because I jump off cliffs and rock, whatever, in my sports all my life, I'm looking at something that's going to scare me, because I'm sort of like done most things that doesn't, and you are scared, but you're not. I want to try and get to something that I think, wow, the paranormal is that frightening me? Is that, so this is why I tend to think this is quite good for me. I want to be persuaded. I want to be changed, because Mark is you're on it more than me. I'm sort of like coming in it from a different angle, and I want to be scared. I want to see this. And there's been already times we've done some our videos where we've had stuff like sort of put the hairs up your back sometimes, which I was quite surprised about.
Yeah, we've had we've had like voices, unexplained weird voices. We've had like when we did a Coromani Can, we had this unexplained arch of light, which just went. It was like on camera above me, and it just seemed to be coming like out of the entrance. Just weird stuff like that.
And as you know, we don't always catch stuff on camera and stuff. There's always stuff. Sometimes we'll hear something. There'll be a crackling in the woods, or there'll be a footstep, and we don't catch it, but we turn around and say, "Did you hear that?"
Yeah.
And it's quite surprising what we actually been finding, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes we do it, we don't see anything. There's, we're not here to make it up, but we'll do a search, and we actually think, oh, actually, there was nothing that pinned on that one. Yeah. But the times it happens, and we sometimes, and loads happen, isn't it? And also weird things. I've been done two episodes, and I've gone home. There's been bats flying around my house. Weird, which I don't normally get bats flying around my house. The other weird one was we just done the Jacobite when we had a cockerel meet us. Didn't we?
Yeah. It was on Walpurgisnacht of all nights. That was that was wrapping up season 2, wasn't it? And I don't know if you know of Walpurgisnacht. It's set to be the traditional date of the witches' Sabbath, which is like May Eve. And anyway, we got there, and out of nowhere, this cockerel was just there. There was no farms around for miles. And when one of the demons, the more well-known demons, Asmodeus, as well, is set to take the form of a cockerel. So we just thought, being the date and all, okay.
It was following us around, wasn't it?
It wasn't shy. No, it wasn't shy at all.
Do you guys? Because Kyra and me always feel it's normally when we're not looking. Or we're not recording, and I've had my best experiences when I've not been actually investigating.
Well, I had a story. I don't know if you tell. I used to do a bit of ghost tours because I do guiding as well and stuff like that. And I went to I did a ghost tour with a couple from Ireland, and just before they came, they'd been in Edinburgh. And I did this ghost tour up at the Chisholm burial tombs, and I was dressed as a monk and all the gear. I had lanterns and everything, and we walked up there, pitch black, and it's to do with the Strathglass witches, the witches that ran the Chisholms, which are supposed to be around there. And honestly, it's a windy night, very atmospheric. I've got my torches, they've got their torches, and I honestly heard something in the trees, and I thought it was like a nursery rhyme. And I looked at them, I said, did you hear that? And they said, what? And I said, Ringa, Ringa, Rosie. And the lady dropped her torch, a lantern on the floor. And she said, what was that all about? Why did you say that? I said, well, that's what I heard. She said, well, we just were talking about that very nursery rhyme just before we met you. And,
wow.
And it happened. I had a medium come the next week. Didn't even tell her this story. Went up to the top, and she was doing all her stuff. And I said, do you have anything around here? Do you know of anything? And she said, Ringa, Ringa, Rosie. And that happened twice, So it's a bit of a coincidence when some people are saying things in an area, and that happens a lot of times, isn't it? We get these.
It's just weird how stuff ties in, with the subject matter.
Well, that's what we say, Kate, isn't it? It's when you get that validation.
Yeah. It's the best
independent validation, come on, come on, skeptics.
Yeah.
Tell me why. We certainly recently, because we've got more spiritual folk in the group now, when we're working independently, but the folk are picking up the same things without speaking to each other as well. Or as I say, the word I can never say, Lindsay's saying synchronicity. Oh, I said it tonight.
That's the word.
That's the word. Yeah.
Mhm.
It is absolutely fascinating and really, really cool. And I think it gives you that kind of verification that there is something out there that's definitely happening. So, of all the locations you've done so far, what's your favourite?
Oh, I quite like the Chisholm Burial Grounds because it's just very, very, very atmospheric. You've got to take a short trek through the woods, and as you climb up a small hill, you're met with this huge yew tree, and it just reminds me of something out of Evil Dead.
Yeah, and the big sort of Celtic crosses.
And that's where we heard the voice. But when we did it,
wasn't it?
It was like December.
Yeah,
we were just setting up to do some stills, and we just heard this on the audio. We just heard this. Yeah. I kid you not, it's on there. You can have a listen.
And that's where I had all the experiences with the noises with the ghost tours and things like that as well. And I think it was done on an old motor fort there.
It is
1,000 years old, and then now it's a burial ground for the Chisholms, the clan Chisholms, and it's not really well publicised. But since we've been doing it, we've noticed we've gone back now, and there's a proper plaque there now.
Yeah, proper tourist plaque. So I don't know whether that's a result of us, probably not. But anyway, also Coromati Burial Chamber's cool. That's. And the Moni Viking Stone. Yeah,
Moni Viking Stone's a really good one.
Yep.
That's got a lot, and because Anne Fanny Stokes connects to that, doesn't she?
Yeah. There's two stories which connect to that. Loch Ness itself, of course, that goes without saying. Boleskine House, of course, as well. So they're all they've all each got their own qualities, haven't they?
Yeah. And I like to, because I don't know if you noticed, we do day and night. We try to anyway. We didn't get quite the night, but that just to try and get two different atmospheres. Because sometimes in the daytime, and I'm thinking, why would spirits or anything define night? Or I think it's what's in our heads that makes it feel more spooky at night, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think our senses are heightened, aren't they, after dark? I mean, I think I always come out with the start that most ghosts are actually seen through the day. Most documented sightings of ghosts are through the day. But I know what you mean, and a location just can take on a completely different atmosphere, can't it? Kind of, you can go to one at day, it's lovely, and go at night after dark, and it's like whoa.
And it tends to be the first question guests ask us on a public investigation, do we need to go all lights out and make it dark? And I say, well, no, it doesn't make any difference really. If they want to talk, they're going to talk. It just feels spookier.
Yep.
And you can see people crying. You see who's screaming.
Yeah, it is easier to keep an eye on the living when the lights are on.
That's it. No, we're really enjoying it, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely.
We enjoy the whole of it. We like yourselves. We get a lot of interviews. We get a lot of people coming now up to us. We were in the Black Isle Bar the other day, wasn't we? And some people came over and wanted a photo. And we're really flattered by that because we just do it for a bit of fun, don't we?
Yeah. It's just an activity which we enjoy. I've always had an interest in this stuff, and it's just fun visiting these places. Traveling about. Just visiting them and just getting whole. The feel, just the whole feel of the place.
I mean, your enthusiasm is, it comes through in the videos. You're really loving it. I mean, there's a lot of YouTube channels out there. Let's be honest, they're there. They want the clicks, they want the likes. But you guys, you can really tell. You're passionate, and that's what's really cool. That's what the paranormal community needs is passionate folk who,
Yeah.
you know, and different styles, different approaches. It's so important that groups and individuals have, you know, we don't all investigate the same way, because I've always said Spirit probably, Kyrie, you probably agree with me here, that Spirit basically, it's like humans, we're all different. So we're going to interact differently with different things. Yeah. We often wonder with modern gadgets, for instance, if you're trying to communicate with somebody from the 16th century and you're waving a K2 meter, they're going to go, oh, they're going to be terrified.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. There's next to me, there's the Campbell gravestone, which is from sort of late Victorian, late 1800s, and he's buried there, and he's supposed to be like a grave robber. There's been many times I've gone up there, and I've gone and played some old sort of like 1920s, 30s sort of music, old style, you know, just on my app on my phone, and I've just sat there and I've started playing them and thinking, would you like to hear that sort of music playing, a little bit atmospheric, and it creates a little bit of something that you can't put your mind on it, you know. It's quite strange.
We've had some success. Yeah, we've had some success with that approach as well.
Oh, have you? You've done this?
With music. We've used it on a couple of locations, and we've got activity. Not all the time, which for me is even better, because it suggests that we probably are interacting. But I know what you mean. There's definitely, when you do it, there's almost like an energy switch.
Whether it triggers something, you know, that doesn't normally do that, or
something from that time or era.
Yeah.
Probably makes them feel more comfortable.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I have a big thing about, if I'm not getting anything, I will think, well, if I was going to speak to someone, I would want them to introduce themselves to me. So I will say my name and just want to get to know you, have a conversation. And then we tend to get more responses, because you've kind of made the introductions. It's just been polite.
Exactly. Yeah. And we've done a funny one, didn't we, with the Vikings? We even give him at the end, I don't know if you noticed on one of our videos, we give him a bit of mead.
We had a bottle of mead. We gave the pour the mead at the foot of the stone. Give him a bit of a drink.
We've not tried that. I mean, we've done trigger objects. I don't think we've ever left any food or used any actual food or alcohol before, but maybe we should try that. But I know we've done trigger objects in the past.
Well, you think about it, all the kids do every Christmas, don't they? Mince pie and a bit of carrot.
It's very true.
You leave it at the fireplace with the big red guy in the soup.
Totally. Just an adaptation of that. An adult's version of that.
Perfect excuse to bring a bottle of whiskey to an investigation, isn't it?
It's a good excuse.
Good excuse.
Getting in touch with the spirits.
Literally.
So you've got series 3. The other thing I noticed, that we were just talking briefly before, obviously, and I know from a lot of posts on Facebook, you're big horror fans. You've just posted Dog Soldier's location video. That was something I didn't know. The intro was filmed. Was it Glen Affric? Did you say?
Yeah, Glen Affric.
It's well, most of the film was all the dialogue anyway. That was all shot in Luxembourg, but the opening scenes were Glen Affric. Just just like just when you get past the opening credits, and it's just all that scenic landscape is Glen Affric. And we just thought we could do that just as a bit of a fun prelude to season 3, just something different, because we both love the movie. We're both huge fans of the Dog Soldiers movie, and we just thought, it'll just be a cool little thing to do. Why not? And
it was a sort of we knew the film and we've seen it, and I saw it again recently, and I recognised it. I thought that's quite looked like Glen Affric, and I looked at the credits and everything, and lo and behold, it was filmed in the opening scenes in Glen Affric, which is incredible.
No, that's really cool.
It's nice when you can tie together some things like that. Mark, you've met, what's the guy who does all that? He goes to all the different. He came in here.
The Grim Life
the
Collective
Grim-
guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
goes through Buddy. He went to like Buddy Holly's grave.
Yeah,
and,
he visits film locations, movie stars' graves, and Grim Life Collective do a whole range of stuff. Yeah.
They're brilliant.
We're big fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, which it's probably there's only a few YouTube channels where I really don't want to miss anything, and really cool. And like you guys, they're passionate about it. Yeah,
They did the Lost Boys. I like that one when they did the Lost Boys. That was a cool one, wasn't it?
Because when they were in Loch Ness, they couldn't find anything open, and the Loch Ness Centre wouldn't let them film inside down there. And anyway, he came in here with his camera and said. I just said to him, "Yep, go for your life. Go in there, film away."
he had a great time. He loved it there, and he found the old was it an old Crazy Golf?
Yeah,
that's
in the back or something.
That's one they used to have out the back. That's long gone. There's just the building remains there now. But no, he had a good time, like having a bit of a scout around. Yeah.
I think they're in Scotland just now. They were in England, but I think they were posting that they're in Scotland just now. I don't know whereabouts.
Well, they were at the Glasgow HorrorCon, the one which we did, the Inverness one. They were there.
All right, cool.
Yeah, but they weren't at the Inverness one, obviously. But they were at the Glasgow one, which was just a few weeks before us.
Yeah. I think they were actually doing a HorrorCon in England last weekend, possibly as well. That's maybe one of the reasons they were over. But I know that they were doing. I think they did Peter Cushing the other week, a Peter Cushing video, my all-time favorite actor. So that was a cool one. That was really good. So time-wise, we're plenty of time, so that's cool. Going back to the book, then. We'll flog it again at the end, but where's the book going to be available from?
Okay, from select stores here at Nessieland, obviously, and wherever we can get them, but mainly on Amazon and at events where we will be appearing, as guests, traders. Cool. We're going to the Birmingham Horror Festival this October, the 11th and 12th. So we'll be trading there, the Extreme Ghost Hunters and the Marquee HK stands. So just places like that, where we'll be just appearing as guests, and just on Amazon and the publisher site, the Dark Moon Press, their website, published by Dark Moon Press in the US, and Mark will be selling them in his lodge. And but just places like that, it's pretty hard sort of getting it into Waterstones and all that sort of stuff. It's so your best place is Amazon, really.
Yeah. Amazon's everybody's friend.
Yeah. But if you want it signed, come see myself or Mark in Nessieland, or just at one of the events where we're at.
Yeah, cool. Absolutely cool. Yeah, I haven't been to Nessieland since I was a kid. I need to get back to Nessieland.
Well, interesting, because this is where we're doing the launch.
Yeah. Unfortunately, June's not a good month for me, but maybe we'll see. We'll see if we can see if we can squeeze it in. And I know you've mentioned, Mark, that you do tours for your guests, don't you? The Lord. Yeah. So you do spooky sort of nighttime tours?
Yeah, well, I used to do ghost tours. So I used to do I do like Highlands by Moonlight. I do organic Highlands, and I used to do ghost tours. I found that I couldn't. Most people just want to do like a moonlight tour, which is more a bit of everything. So we go and see Plodder Falls, waterfalls at night. We go and see stags. I got permission to go into a glen at night and look at the stags with torches. We go and see Coromoni Cairn. I take people to the Hobbit House, the Highland Hobbit House, which is cool. To Tomic to see the golden retrievers. But as we do that, we pass all a lot of locations we've got in our book. So I throw in as well a few spooky stories as well, which is quite cool. And then it helps with the book and stuff like that.
Yeah. Cool. And that's just for guests who are staying at the lodge, or can people?
It's because I've got my paragliding I do in the day, and I do my skiing in the winter. It's just the time. I think if I opened it up too much, it'd be quite, So I only take couples. I think it's quite nice. The couples they can just come along a private tour and stuff like that. So and they're all in the one car or pick up on, and we just go around the mountains, and they really enjoy it. We got a lot of Americans, Europeans, people from all over the world, and they just absolutely love it. And you should know, you do your great tours in Inverness. And
and I do agree. Smaller the number, the better. And I think even when we do events, kind of, if we've got a smaller groups, we're quite. It's a better experience. I think it's a better experience, to be fair.
Yeah. It's just the atmosphere is better, I think, isn't it? And you can talk to each other better, and
you just got that connection,
Yeah.
I think it's good for the guests because they get a chance to be more hands-on with all the equipment that we use, and get a better shot of everything rather than passing it around to everyone as well. And
it's exactly the same when I do paragliding. When I used to have a big paragliding school in England, we used to have groups of like 10 plus, and to get people to have a go on the equipment, it was quite difficult moving around. I only work pretty much 1-to-1 up here, so they're constant, got the attention, got the equipment, and it's a lot better. So it works the same with the ghost hunting as well.
Totally agree. And it's great that there's folk like you doing this though as well, and because there isn't a lot. I mean, I speak to tour guides, and I get support, especially from Kath, who runs the sort of, I suppose, probably the oldest tour company in Inverness, because she doesn't do paranormal, so she puts paranormal people to me. But there really isn't a lot of people up here doing ghosty walks of any sort, or talks or that.
I think there's a little bit of it, as you know, there's a little bit of an art to it as well, isn't there? It's not easy. You've got to tour for 3 hours. You've got to basically talk for 3 hours. You can't just say, right, we'll just go driving to that location and not say anything in between the car.
Yeah.
I've got to talk when I go with people. I'm talking for the constant all the time, whether it's about the weather, it's about whatever, you've got to talk, and you can't have any silent gaps.
You've got to keep them engaged.
You've got to keep them, and that's what makes a difference. I think people appreciate that as well. They feel that, if you just have all this silent space all the time, it doesn't work.
No, totally agree. It's and as I said, if you've got smaller numbers, it's easier as well to engage. I mean, obviously, when we're doing a walk around town, if you've got a group of 12, you've got to ensure that all 12 are staying together. You don't have stragglers. That's normally why there's 2 of us. So Lawrence is normally out with me as well. So she'll be, one of us will be at the front, one of us will be at the back to make sure. Lawrence will be making sure we don't get locked in graveyards and whatnot. So
to make sure everyone stays together.
Stays together. So as I say, I totally take my hat off to you. It isn't easy to do. But it's good that there is folk still doing it, and I think things in the Highlands are slowly changing. It's certainly in the time I've been doing paranormal, I've seen a big switch in people's beliefs, and spiritualism has grown so much in the 14-15 years I've been doing it. So, I think there's still certain places. I think if you talk about the paranormal, they're going to be a little bit wary of you.
People like Jonathan Ross, the Osbornes, all these people as well have started to come onto it, haven't they?
Yeah. I think that's it. It is actually mainstream. It is pretty mainstream. I think you've still got an element of the media, especially, who are basically quite happy to take the mickey, for want of a better term. I've certainly had some dealings in the past where there's been red flags, and it's like, nah, not going there. I know what you're trying to do, but Yeah, it is. It is certainly more, as I said, more mainstream, and people are a lot more open to it. I think kind of we still get people who, if they're in a group, oh, I don't believe that. Oh, that's a load of rubbish.
Yeah.
And then they'll get you on your own, and oh, I need to have a word with you.
Usually,
you go to cities like Edinburgh or York, it's rife.
Yeah.
There's so many different, tours, touring companies that deal with paranormal tours and whatnot.
And we came into this as well. We said, even just on a YouTube channel, occasionally we'll get some nasty comments and stuff. But we've always said we're big and ugly enough to we don't give a monkey's what people say.
We're thick-skinned.
We just do it regardless. So if people like it, they like it. If they don't, it's up to them.
Just when the press got hold of our Nessie story, just reading some of the comments, so we actually got a laugh out of some of them. They looked at our photo and they go, "Oh, geez, these two are really reliable." Look at them. They just went,
that's it. Yeah.
It's a curse. It's a curse. It's the curse of social media, I think, and what I still occasionally see a comment on one of our posts, and I'm going, "Why are you even following the page?"
Yeah, exactly. I've had a couple of comments on mine. It really, why am I wasting my time watching this? And then a few weeks later, he's back on doing another comment.
Yeah.
So I think
you didn't learn from the first time.
Yeah, exactly.
Was it you? No, we really enjoy it. Everything about it, like meeting you guys is great for us. And we appreciate your help you give us and support when we met us as the new kids on the block. It's just quite cool, wasn't it?
I think we were still on the first season then.
We're first season.
I think it's important. It's important to paranormal unity, para unity. I think kind of we're right in saying there is in every walk of life. You're going to get nasty folk. You're going to get folk who are basically out for themselves. But we've kind of worked on the premise that we support groups where we can, if we feel that they're of a similar nature to us, so we try and support and help. At the end of the day, we're all trying to work. We should all try to work together because we've all got the same aim.
Exactly.
Totally.
Yeah. And it's really cool to get another team's approach, but also to see what another team picks up at a site.
Yeah.
So if we've been to site and another team goes to that site, and what do they pick up? And they're picking up similar things to what we've picked up. Going back to what we were saying earlier, that's really interesting. And if not, it's like, well, okay, maybe we need to look at our techniques, see what techniques were used, and move on from there. So I'm big fan of supporting other folk. Always have been. As I say, I think there's a lot of really cool groups out there across the country, across the world. I mean, we also had the guys on from Perth, Australia earlier. We've got paranormal.
I saw that. I thought Perth. I thought, is that here in Oz? Or is that here in Scotland? Or is it?
No,
Oz?
Yeah.
He was just watching it because he goes, it's almost 3 a.m. I've got to get to bed.
Yeah. So we've got Mark and the guys over in Paranormal New Zealand as well. Some great groups in America as well, and Canada that support us. So, there's lots of cool groups out there. Definitely. So. If we normally ask this question, if you could investigate any location in the world, where would you investigate?
Amityville Horror House for me.
Yeah.
Just to see if there's any energy still there, because what took place there, right? Has moved in. Yeah, the Amityville Horror House, definitely.
Mine is it's more the extreme sports. I like somewhere like the Death Zone on Everest, or some of the Eiger, the north face of the Eiger, where there's been K2. That's for me the spirits of the adventurers. That sort of thing appeals to me, sort of thing. And whereas you a little bit more,
Or even places like, do you know of St. Mary's Church in Clop Hill?
No.
Yeah, that's got a bit of a history to it.
Right.
Yeah, it's been brought out by some sort of trust now. They don't like any of that sort of stuff, or anything to do with it. When I was researching it for my book, the guy who is like basically the warden of the lodges that they built across. He said, look, we don't want, he basically told us to clear off, and said we don't want anything to do with it. We're kind of tired of it. It's like, well, you're never going to get rid of it. This place has got a history. There's been movies about it. There's been books written about it. So yeah, good luck with that. So yeah, Clop Hill, that would be an interesting one.
Yeah,
there's been all sorts of stories from that over the years. Just there's all sorts of videos on YouTube about it. The Hellfire Caves would be a good one.
I'd like to go there.
Yeah. I was there recently. I was there in January. I launched my Eerie Planet updated and revised there. So that'd be a good one, of course. And there's just tons of places really.
Yeah.
All around the world. Yeah.
I always struggle to pick. I always struggle to pick one. Definitely. Lindsay's actually saying going back to Everest. That would be really interesting. What I also find interesting is because you do it, Mark. That's an extra. That's an extra connection.
That's why, for me, that's why it appeals, because unfortunately there's been a lot of fatalities and deaths, good and bad, in a way where it's happened. Some have been trying to save some, and they've rescued many, but they've perished. And it goes from, like Everest, for the last 60, 70 years or so, you'll get people that are on the death zone and they're still there, unfortunately. There must be a lot of energy of all the people that have perished in their areas.
And they just can't get to them.
You still walk past bodies and places like that, and it must be so sad of how they died just on their own, alone. And they actually do the climbs. There was one called Green Boots, he's there all the time. He's been there for about 30 years. And that's a marker. It's just a body that's laying there because they don't decay or they don't, There's also things like, I'd like to go to places like the Explorers, where Shackleton went. But he was very good. They all survived, But you've got like the North Pole. You've got places where for me, that adventure side, where unfortunately people do have accidents. But there must be a lot of energy around these places, because the reason they have the accidents is to do with the conditions of the weather, the earth. There could be an avalanche, it could be a rock fall. It's the elements. So the elements have created that danger, and so that you've got everything all come together. And also, if you've got to go to these areas, you're putting yourself in danger probably as well. So you've got added risk yourself. Plus, you're looking at something around you. I think that'd be quite cool to do.
Yeah, I mean, I as I say, I think we're great believers, aren't we, Kyra? In that if you do something in life that spirit does, you could be definitely an attraction to that connection, attracted to them.
Yeah, a connection there instantly. I mean, we find it with just communication with spirit, who they might be more happy or less happy to talk to somebody who reminds them of someone. So connections can be formed anyway. And like I said, unfortunately, I've lost, for the sports I do, I've lost a lot of friends from like skiing accidents, paragliding accidents. That they've perished in front of me, basically, and you can see that they go into a different state almost just on their last breaths and things like that. As if for the contentment, sometimes it's they pass, and it's quite emotional when that happens, and all these emotions are there in these areas all over the world, and I think that's one thing that could be harnessed. I wouldn't be surprised if someone does that sort of thing. Let's go back to an old event, an old catastrophe, something like that, and let's try and do these sort of. You've got to be very careful though as well when you do these things. That's the other thing. You've got to respect the people that are, that, and
I think I always wonder about this when we do graveyards. What's the cutoff on a graveyard? Because sometimes we go to graveyard, there are some younger graves there. So we've got to be a bit respectful, and we don't want to upset anyone or cause any problems when we do that. I don't know how you feel about that.
I use the term, basically, we won't touch an active graveyard, because I just take if I was there, tending the grave, visiting the grave of my loved one, and a bunch of ghost hunters turned up, I know how I would feel. So we tend to go to the old historic sites, and I mean the clan one that I would definitely say is definitely in that.
Well, that's the thing. Most of the graveyards we do investigate, they're all off the beaten track. They're well out the way. They're not.
I think there's a rule, kind as well. We living memory, or if we know that there's a possibility of people still being alive, connected to an individual, we will. I know you've withheld information at events because there would be an impact on somebody there who was still alive. You need to be pretty careful.
If I pick up something on a guest at an event, I won't say anything unless they pull me aside and ask if I've picked anything up, because you don't know what their mental state of mind is like, how they're going to take it. Yeah.
Going back to wouldn't it be fantastic to do like a ghost around the Titanic and places like that?
Well, you're reading my mind. That's spooky, because we had the opportunity to, not through this channel but through another channel, to interview Barry Fitzpatrick, who used to head up Ghost Hunters International.
Right.
And if you follow Barry, he's still very much into the paranormal and pushing the boundaries, and that's where he wanted to go. He wants to investigate the Titanic.
Just don't do it like in a craft made from parts.
No. I was actually recently told that they have now scanned the entire Titanic, and they're going to actually make a virtual reality model that you can actually go and sit as if you're in a submarine and go through the wreck of the Titanic.
Well, that'd be cool.
So
I've been to some of the exhibitions, and even being around some of the objects is quite cool. I'm sure that there again, some of the old life vests, or the old, you see some old shoes, or you see some, even them sort of things are quite cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've obviously done, I don't know if Pool House in Pool U, they have Titanic memorabilia there.
Wow.
And the owners are actually, I believe that they were actually the captain, they're descendant of the captain. But they had activity that was eventually linked back to the Titanic.
Yeah, God.
Well,
in that house. So they've got a room where people basically couldn't stay the night because they were getting basically shaken around in their beds. Well, start with people running in the corridor outside, nobody there. The bed then starts shaking, moving, furniture moving.
Oh, God.
Then a loud bang as if something in the room next door has just hammered the wall behind them. And eventually somebody remotely who had been sent a photo basically turned around and said, not knowing anything about the place, said, have you got any links to Titanic? Because what I'm getting is the Titanic sinking. And that's what they think was actually going on in that house. And they think there's actually a couple of children that are attracted to the house because of the connections, but also because that particular room now is like the children's room. It's got all the old toys and dolls. And they've even found one of the dolls on the floor with its boots removed. In that room. So,
crazy.
It's
all things like that. Well, I was just going to mention that because we're going to the asylum where they got the pet graveyard there, haven't they?
Yeah,
at the asylum, and we're going to start bringing maybe my dog Dexter onto some of our hunts, aren't we?
He's going to be joining the team.
Yeah, he's a big dog.
Big cool.
Yeah.
So we're going to try and bring him along and see whether he gets any,
See, because animals have got that ESP, and whenever they pick up anything, they start freaking out. So we're just going to see if what happens with Dexter when he comes on board.
Yeah, I've taken it for walks and this in the middle of the forest, and he's suddenly, whether it's an animal or he's heard something, their senses are amazing. So it'll be interesting when we do that one. We might take him along and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he's going to be joining us for season 3.
Yeah.
Awesome, absolutely awesome. I mean, we actually do that. If somebody calls us up, especially a private case, and they're scared or concerned what's going on, we always ask them, have you got a pet? You got a dog or a cat? How are they behaving?
Yeah.
If the dog and cat's fine, you have nothing to worry about. So, but I was going to say, sorry, on you go, Mark. Yeah, on you go.
I'd be interested to get a parrot at one of these places. They could say some words, can't they?
Paranormal parrot. I think that's that. Yeah, I think we're missing a trick, guys. Yeah, I was going to say I'm really interested to see what you pick up at that pet cemetery, because we did pick something up. So
we should bring Dexter along for that one for
sure.
It's a really, really interesting place, and interesting enough, people still bury their pets there.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So you walk into the woods and you'll see wooden crosses and things like that. It's quite spooky and atmospheric.
It is.
Looking forward to that one, actually. Yeah.
Did you actually ever got into the asylum before? Did you ever?
Sadly, no, because we do everything by the book. We did approach to get access, but couldn't get. They would never let us in. But I've heard plenty. I've heard plenty of stories about the place, and we do have a photograph that was taken a couple of years afterwards, which seems to show somebody standing in the corner of a room when there's nobody there. Now, the interesting thing about this photograph is that the guy who took it has never sought any kind of publicity.
Oh God!
Well,
yeah.
Crazy.
So I think it's there's a lot of stories from security when it was empty as well. I've had even nurses that were there saying that things used to happen. I don't think I'd be buying a flat there, put it that way.
You just got to think of the energy of these places, haven't you? What went on.
100%. When I actually met somebody who was involved in the paranormal early on when I started doing it, who had been a matron there on the lockdown wards, and she just refused to even talk about what took place in there. So definitely
abuse and
I think if you watch these the ghost hunters and doing these old hospitals and old infirmaries, and it just when they've left all the equipment around, they go to the morgue. It's got this atmosphere, hasn't it? And an asylum is very similar, isn't it? I think it's got that.
I'd love to do an asylum. It's an asylum's probably top of my list. If I had to pick a type of building, I would love to investigate that. I've never investigated. I think it probably, an asylum would definitely be up there, because I'm quite sure the atmosphere alone would be so different. I mean, the majority of places we go into are still occupied.
There's one in Australia. The name escapes me at the minute, but I think it's in Victoria. They do regular tours there, and that's definitely got some activity going on in it. I think it's like in northern Victoria somewhere. But a guy I know, his brother, he was like minding the place. But he said that he's definitely got there's something going on there. That's for sure.
Yeah. Sadly, there's not many left in the UK that can be explored. They've either been, demolished, or they've been converted into flats or whatever.
trendy
Yeah,
flats.
yeah.
What trendy
Yeah.
empty flats?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another good one. Another good one for me would be the German hospital on Guernsey. I think that's by far. It features in one of my books. That's by far the spookiest place I've been to. I would not want to spend a night there. It's just it's just a labyrinth of like tunnels, but it's just very bleak and dark and dank. It's just that would be
I'm just waiting to see if Helen responds, because Helen's from down that neck of the woods and she may have investigated it.
All right.
So she's watching just now. So she might, if she's still on, she might come back.
I just saw someone mentioned about Dunrobin Castle. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Dunrobin. That looks to me. I've been into the place where the museum where they've got all the animals.
Oh yeah.
They've got every single animal you think of in that place.
Yeah.
You know, but I think Dunrobin's got a little atmosphere as well, hasn't it? Oh yeah. Someone says I'm here.
Yeah, we were asking about the hospital, Helen in Guernsey. Have you done it?
Yeah, the German hospital, the abandoned military one.
Hi, Debs.
Yeah, it features in my book.
Yeah.
Sadly, you had your first experience, Karen, in Dunrobin, didn't you?
I did. Yeah. It was pretty horrific as well. I got grabbed on the shoulder very, very hard, a lot of force. I was only a kid at the time. There was nobody else there. Didn't know the place was haunted. Didn't know the history, and it all checked out.
Jeez.
Well,
yeah, it's fascinating.
Is that how you got into the paranormal then?
No, but I think it sort of emphasized it for me a bit. You know, I had nightmares about the place for months afterwards.
Yeah. How did you get involved in it then?
Just from seeing things that other people couldn't all the time, not realizing it wasn't normal, and just got into it more and more the older I got. And I ended up joining the guys a couple of years ago.
And you enjoying it?
Oh yeah, it's brilliant. I love it. Yeah,
we can see that there's a great team you've got there.
Yeah,
you know,
everybody's
all work. You're, you know, very good friendships, and you know, we had a Christmas party, didn't we? Came along and
that
was enjoyable.
We enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was a very good night. There you go. Helen did it again at the weekend. So she was at your German hospital at the weekend.
Oh wow. Yeah. I've only been there once, and that was a couple of years ago when I was like doing, but it's a spooky place. Yeah, because there used to be like morgues there, and it's mortuaries. It's one hell of a spooky. It's one of those places you just walk through and your footsteps just echo. You know.
Yeah, road trip, Kyra.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah. Helen saying it was very active. Very active.
I believe it. Yeah.
Mark, watched a few videos, enjoyed them. I appreciate your down to earth approach and chill.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah.
So
Thank you very much. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we enjoy doing it, don't we?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Did a seance
in the mortuary in the hospital. Oh wow. Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah, so many great locations. Unfortunately, Dunrobin Castle will not let anybody investigate it. Mm-hmm. We have tried, and we've tried actually quite recently again. And somebody tried for us who had somebody who was employed by them, and they still wouldn't let us do it. So,
some places are just adamant about that. They just want not a bar of it.
Yeah, you got to respect. I can understand to a certain extent that some of these places, especially if they're as Dunrobin is part of it, still a home. You know that they might not want. You know, I think sometimes we forget. We go into a place, we leave. They're there all the time. So yeah.
Awaken something or whatever.
Yeah, Helen was at Rate. I know we mentioned Rate to you guys before. It's a great location. Yeah. So, as it seems to be getting dark in Drummond and Rocket.
We just haven't got the lights on. That's all.
Yeah, no, I made that mistake the other week, and I was getting darker and darker and darker. So tonight I switched my light on before. before we started. We have run over slightly, guys, but it has been great to catch up with you. I know we've said we will do an investigation together. We will organise that at some point this year, hopefully.
Yeah.
As I said, and yeah, Mark's actually gone on there, but it's a location I've been to. Always nice to see it through different set of eyes.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. Mark is, if you don't know, he runs Paranormal New Zealand. But
he made a video of a place I visited, which features in one of my books, the Caton Caves in Shropshire.
Yeah,
I watched his video. I actually asked him how to get there. If you remember.
Right, cool.
Yeah.
Top bloke.
Yeah.
Mark's another guy who, if you're not following Paranormal New Zealand on YouTube, you should be, because their videos as well are absolutely superb, and really good, and well worth a watch. But yeah, as I said, guys, thank you so much for coming on. We will post links tomorrow morning. You've obviously, again, one last plug for your book.
Yep. It's out now, folks. Available on Amazon. The Extreme Ghost Hunters book, the historical tour guide, featuring 10 locations, and it's available on Amazon. And we're launching it here at Nessie Land on June the 21st, if you can make it. But if not, we'll see you out on the road at some stage.
And remember,
fear is not an issue.
Night, folks. Thanks for watching.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
Cheers, Bye-bye.